He was about to be ushered into a private jet in which he would be flown to New Mexico to sign the biggest deal of his 16-year career as an up-and-coming home builder. Peter had never flown private, unlike many of his clients and potential clients. Although he'd built his business from the ground up into a thriving firm, he was still on the outside of the Dallas home builder market. He still had a long way to go as he continued to break into the wealthier enclaves of the city. He longed for his little startup to reach what he believed to be its true potential. One day, it would be the #1 home builder in the city. He stepped onto the tarmac, and the smiling flight attendant, who looked like she spent her Sundays cheering for the Dallas Cowboys, guided him toward the short flight of steps up to the entrance to the Bombardier. Just 3 little steps to my destiny, he thought. Flying private. If Peter had heard that phrase once, he had heard it 1,000 times from the lips of his new friends. We're going skiing and we're flying private. We're going to the Super Bowl and we're flying private. We're going to Dad's birthday party and we're flying private. It seemed that the dividing line between those who hired Peter's firm and those who didn't was whether they could afford to fly private. Those wealthy enough to do so might have favored Peter with an interview, but they never gave him the deal. As he stepped through the doorway, Peter realized that no one else was in the passenger compartment. This jet was all for him, for the short hop to Taos. As his eyes adjusted to the soft light of the interior, he studied the impeccable leather seats, the plush carpeting, the glossy wood table and chairs. Peter could tell at a glance that they were the same quality of finishes he hoped to adorn the houses of his future uber-wealthy clients' homes with. Who ever heard of a full-size sofa in an airplane? As he lowered himself into one of the swivel chairs. He tried to look comfortable, like he belonged in this chair that probably cost more than his first car, but his eyes lit up like those of a 10-year-old boy on Christmas morning, hopeful he would finally get the coveted Red Ryder BB gun. "First time flying private?" the flight attendant asked sweetly. "Is it that obvious?" Peter asked, chagrined as he felt his cheeks turning red. "I won't tell anyone," she replied, grinning. "Everybody feels that way the first time. Don't be embarrassed. Your secret is safe with me. Champagne?" Beer was more to his taste. Champagne always struck him as reserved for the more sophisticated set, the kind whose pinky stuck out ever so slightly when attempting to drink from the ridiculously tall glass. He'd never seen his dad, a Vietnam vet, drink champagne. A 6-pack of Budweiser, though? Definitely. The king of beers. Plus, champagne gave Peter a headache. But when in Rome. Sure. Yes, please. He might not have been raised with money, but his mother had taught him how to behave. She always said, "Peter Jonathan Christensen, I just have 2 words for you. Behave." He always rolled his eyes at her play on words. He had stuck to them pretty well, but he wondered where it had actually gotten him. At that moment, the pilot stepped out of the cockpit. His presence startled Peter, as if he had done something wrong. What flying private etiquette had he failed to follow? The pilot was exactly as Peter would have expected, like he had been sent over by central casting. He was tall, silver-haired, and had the ramrod straight bearing of someone who was clearly ex-military. "Good morning, Mr. Christensen," he said. "I'll be taking you over to Taos today. We're expecting a storm later on, but we'll have you on the ground well before it arrives." In the movies, private pilots always said they were flying over to the destination. No big deal, as if they were just heading over to the 7-Eleven for some snacks and a copy of the Sunday edition of the Dallas Morning News. "Are we good to go?" the pilot asked. "Yes, sir," Peter offered, hearing his mom's voice in his ear. Why did I say that? I'm not a child. He gave the pilot a thumbs up, immediately wondering if that looked geeky. Yep, that was geeky. The pilot nodded and forced a smile, as if to confirm, clearly a rookie, and then made his way back into the cockpit. Peter felt a twinge of uneasiness, the way he always did when some subtle signal emphasized the differences between the luxuries his clients and neighbors took for granted and the working-class life he had known growing up. Would he ever feel like he belonged? He sighed. Suddenly, the powerful engines roared to life, and Peter was on his way.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.